Shavas Vayinafash that Hashem, he ceased and he rested in an instant. So too, it's the same thing that we're saying over here in our kingdom. And that is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in his infinite wisdom, as he saw what was going on and he saw that the Jewish people were heading down a terrible path, and he saw the Klal Yisrael was moving along in a pathway that was not going to be good for them, what did he do? He stopped everything when they least expected that it would happen. And the destruction came really overnight. The one day they went to sleep, the next morning the walls of the city are surrounded. They try to battle the walls of the city, the next thing you know, Titus or Nebuchadnezzar is coming in and he's wiping down the entire Beis HaMikdash to the ground. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to destroy something in a moment, only HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that has the ability to do such a thing. And as Rav Soloveitchik writes over here, even though that it's true that Yirmiyahu Navi was warning the Jewish people day and night, Hashem's going to bring a destruction, they never believed that it was going to be something that would happen so soon. And as a result of them not believing that something like this would happen so soon, that's why it was so difficult and so painful, the gullus and the exile that fathers had to go in at that point. Now this is something that for us, and this is why I think it's so apropos that this is the way that the Kinnos begin, that we are living in this generation where we know what Shabbos, we know what things stopping in an instant really is all about. We came to shul every single day as it was normal. We heard in the background there's something called COVID virus, and it's coronavirus. It started in Wuhan, China, wherever it is. We don't know what's going on. We made it to Purim. We were making fun of people that were getting nervous about the virus on Purim. We were making fun of them. What are they worried about? And suddenly 2 weeks, I was going to shut the night. I was told we have to shut down the shul as well. Shabbos in an instant. In an instant, everything stopped. In an instant, we went into our homes. In an instant, we lost our the shul as well. Shabbos, in an instant. In an instant, everything stopped. In an instant, we went into our homes. In an instant, we lost all of our friends. In an instant, we lost the place that we call the center of our spiritual life. In an instant, there's no more shul. In an instant, there's no more learning together in a chabur, in a group. Just to have 6 people together in the shul today, 7 people, that's already a big shear for me in person. Zoom is one thing, but live people, that's another thing. You're very brave that you come here. No, I'm not going to say no masks. I don't even know if you're 6 feet apart. That won't tell, but nobody knows who you are, so it doesn't matter. But the bottom line is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu shut down the world in an instant. Just as he shut down Klal Yisrael in an instant when it came time for the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, he shut down Klal Yisrael this time as well. Now, what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu want in the times of the Beis HaMikdash when he did it so quickly? He wanted the Jewish people to recognize that there is a Rabbi Shalom who is running this world. And if you misbehave and you don't treat HaKadosh Baruch Hu the right way, and you don't treat his Beis HaMikdash in the right way, and we don't give it the proper honor and the respect, and we don't learn there, and we don't daven there the way that Hashem wants us to do, and we misbehave throughout the day with Lashon Hara and Gil Arayis and Shvichas Damim and Avodah Zarah, or we don't say brachas on the Torah in the right way, we're not learning with the right kavanah, or all the bad midas, all the bad character traits that we don't correct and we don't fix. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I want you to work and become the best nation that you could become. So when he brings a Shabbos, when he brings something that will stop like that, it's all to jolt us and to wake us up, to make us realize that things are not going on as they once did. Things are not as they seem. And then we're supposed to turn back around and we're supposed to do tshuva. Now, by the first Beis HaMikdash, it took 70 years for the people to do tshuva in the right way. Finally, 70 years later, we were able to come back up from Bavel to Yerushalayim. But this galus, this exile that HaKadosh Baruch Hu ended already almost 2,000 years ago, we didn't stop yet. And everything that goes on, all of these years, all the tragedies, everything that takes place, is all just an outgrowth of the galus, of this exile itself that we find ourselves in. And so Hashem brought once again an opportunity for us to be jolted and to be woken up by HaKadosh Baruch Hu's ways that he can do things in an instant. He rocked the world, as they say in America. He turned everything over on its head. He changed people's lives forever. Our children, we hope that they're going to get over it, but to an extent, our children will never be the same. They got used to a life the last 5 months. It's irresponsible, the kind of life that our children are leading the last 5 months. The Zoom and the computer and the this and the that, and no social life and no friends and no rebbeim and no teachers and no learning and no regular Seder Yom. Not a regular, to get dressed in the morning. Our kids are going to go back to school, B'ez Hashem. They go back in September. Well, they know how to get dressed for school anymore. Cairo's not going to cut it at school. Slides are not going to cut it at school. The T-shirt and the this and the that and rolling out of bed, not going to cut it. They're going to have to go through a whole tshuva process themselves just to get back into a regular order of events so they can be able to live like a normal separation. All the different things that we have going on. HaKadosh Baruch Hu stopped everything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu stopped everything for us because He wants us, ourselves, after all of these months, to get weaker. He wanted them to get stronger. The word galus, we say this out every year. The Sas Emes writes that the word galus, exile, is from the word hisgalus, to reveal. Which means that through the exile that the Jewish people go through, to reveal from, we learn a little bit, that we stay connected on Jews. Did we do these things? Did we do the best that we could? I can only speak for myself. I know that I didn't. And therefore, this time of Tisha B'Av, when we're sitting on the floor and we're trying to regain ourselves and to peer inside, we did. But if we didn't, it's never too late. This is why Hashem has given us days like today, to sit on the floor, to humble ourselves. But it's very humbling to sit on the floor. Sit on the floor, no shoes, nothing. Just sit on the floor. Things that I no time, no hat, no lights, no sound, no camera, no action, nothing. Just sit on the floor together with you and our HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to be honest with ourselves. And this is the mourning that we do on Tisha B'Av. The mourning on Tisha B'Av is that our HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed us that He does everything Shabbos, He does everything in an instant. He stops the world in its tracks. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu can do the series of things, and He's getting a good name in the world, and a very big, a giant, wealthy engineer from Japan was somebody. And sure enough, he went with great diligence and he designed these fascinating towers to the world Twin Towers, yeah, the Twin Towers. The Twin Towers over there in New York, and he designed them, and they were magnificent. They're the highest towers that you could possibly find in the city of New York. And he got tremendous acclaim as a result of it. The towers themselves, I believe, were built, if I'm not mistaken, they were built in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. It makes sense, 60s, 70s, I don't remember the dates right now. And they lasted for about 40 years, until that one fateful day, when the Al-Qaeda terrorists, suicide bombers, whatever you want to call them, they both hijacked their planes and they came one after the other and they knocked the towers down to the ground, killing thousands of people and changing the course of history forever. After the towers came crumbling down, so there was a reporter, and years later, after the whole thing took place, she wanted to get in touch with the people that were responsible for the design of the World Trade Towers. She decided it would be a nice article to write to see how do you feel that all of your hard work came coming down to the ground. Now it's already several years later, and you can begin to see the aftermath and the effects. How do you feel that all that work, all that effort, all that ingenuity? So she began looking around at the names of the people that were in the buildings, and she found this Hyman Goldberg. And a Jew normally asks, you know the famous words of Rabbi Akiva, although Rabbi Akiva had a life that was free, Hashem does this for the good, and we have nothing to worry about. We know that Hashem knows what He's doing. He's running the show just perfectly. This is the other parts of the world where they existed before. You know for us. You go to a store, you stand too close to the person, they give you a glare, you just knife them in the back, God forbid. I'm sorry, I was 5.5 feet, forgive me. If you then we'll be able to appreciate these words. The greatest achievement in life is his scarves precariousness. Tell you what I